Monday, kind of reliving the moment there in Lafayette Park. If you had to do Monday over again, would you do something different?
Based on what I know now, no. On Monday, we were reacting to 3 days of extremely violent demonstrations right across from the White House. A lot of injuries to police officers, arson. Things were so bad that the Secret Service recommended the president go down to the bunker. We can't have that in our country. And so the decision was made we had to move the perimeter 1 block. And that is what we were doing.
I guess when every last thing you say is a lie, eventually it gets tough to keep on top of them all. Like, for example, how Bill Barr just admitted that Trump was brought down to the White House bunker at the request of the Secret Service because of the protests, when that wasn't exactly the story that Trump was selling.
During the day, and I was there for a tiny little short period of time, and it was much more for an inspection. There was no problem during the day. The problem, I saw Leland got whacked pretty good, but that was during the night. And these problems are during the night, not during the day. And I go down, I've gone down 2 or 3 times, all for inspection. And you go there, someday you may need it, but you go there, and I went down, I looked at it, it was during the day, it was not a problem. And I read about it like a big thing.
So you tell me, Mr. President, they didn't say to you, you have to go downstairs. My responsibility is your welfare. They didn't limit you at all in the House?
Nope, they didn't tell me that at all. But they said it would be a good time to go down, take a look, because maybe sometime you're going to need it. And I've been down, let's see, that would be number 2, 2.5, sort of, because I've done different things, but 2.5. But I looked, I was down for a very, very short period of time. Very, very short period of time. I can't tell you who went with me, but a whole group of people went with me. As an inspecting factor, I was back up. And, Brian, it was during the day. It wasn't during the night. I think they reported during the night. During the night, maybe someday it makes sense. During the day, you have tremendous numbers of people. We didn't even have protesters, or if they did, it was a small crowd. There's so much fake news going around, Brian, you have no idea. Maybe you do actually have an idea.
I don't know about you all, but I'm starting to think that Trump may not have been doing routine building inspections after all. And look, no one with half a brain actually thought that the President of the United States just so happened to be doing routine maintenance at the same time a protest had ignited outside the White House. No one actually bought his bizarre rambling about having visited the bunker 2.5 times, whatever that might mean. No one believed any of it, but the point here is that he is so shameless, so brazen in his lying, that he tried to pass it off like he did anyway. And so what that tells us is, if he's willing to lie about something so obviously false, then there's nothing he won't lie about. And that's because stroking his own ego is more important to him than actually bothering to be honest with the American people. His entire presidency is predicated on this idea that he's a tough guy who clearly would never have to run and hide in a bunker. And so when he did exactly that, he just set himself up for humiliation. And to be clear, this was a completely unforced error. Any other person in the world in his position, if they were rushed to the bunker, they would just say, yeah, Secret Service made the determination, so I went. End of story. But because Trump opted to lie and pretend he was just doing a casual building inspection, all he did was turn it into an issue. Yet again, in his clumsy desperation to make it go away, he just ensured that it would stay longer. And while it's more embarrassing than anything else in this situation, the scary part is that this is the guy who we have negotiating on our behalf. A guy with such poor judgment, a guy who's so easily fooled that he turned a nothing story about a routine trip into the White House bunker into a week-long saga of him falling on his own face. And so if he can't manage to get himself out of this controversy, imagine when denuclearization is on the line. Imagine when he's put in a compromising situation by his pen pal Kim Jong-un or the KGB in Russia. Imagine what secrets could be divulged or weapons dropped because any foreign government knows that Donald Trump is physically incapable of not taking the bait if they were to lure him into a pissing contest. On one hand, you have the top intelligence services in the world, most likely working in direct opposition to us, and on the other hand, we have Donald Trump, who can't manage to not step on a rake and hit himself in the face. And look, while the issue of Trump hiding in his bunker is relatively insignificant, the principle here is not. And that is that there is inherent danger in having a president who is so blinded by his own security, blinded by his own ego, that he'd completely neuter himself because of that. That might work for a reality game show host, but that's not a person fit for office. If you like that video, please check out my brand new podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I'll cover the most important political stories of the week and interview major players in the world of politics. Available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out and subscribe now.